Hey guys, as of the day I'm recording, we are one day away from the first college football Saturday, and I'm super pumped. And I gotta get my predictions out of the way. We are predicting the winner of each Power 4 conference, and some of the answers might surprise you guys. And if you guys love college football, make sure to check out some of my content and maybe subscribe if you're at it. But without further ado, let's get into the conference that just means more, the SEC. The SEC is a three-team race. I know LSU and Oklahoma and South Carolina and Texas A&M, like they'd be dark horse contenders, but let's be real. It's a three-team race for Texas, Georgia, and Alabama. And the winner of this conference, it could be anyone. It was literally a coin flip or a three-sided coin flip, if you will. But I ended up choosing Alabama to win it. That might seem a bit surprising, but I have my reasons, and I think anybody can win it again. Now, the first reason is that I think Georgia, they're the outsider in this. Of course, they have a really talented team. They have the best linebacker corps in the country besides maybe Texas. And they have a very great secondary. And Gunnar Stockton is very exciting for Georgia. They got Zachariah Branch. And they got a lot of good talent. But I just feel like there's more turnover with them. And they replaced it less efficiently than Texas did than any other team in the SEC, really. And the main thing that I'm worried about is their line of scrimmage. I know Georgia's got some talent on the line of scrimmage with Christian Miller and that edge from Army, Zowoku. And of course, I know their offensive line does have some talent. It's very, very highly rated recruits on that offensive line. But again, it's very inexperienced. It's not the greatest. They lost 3 to the draft. And I don't see how a young quarterback like Gunnar Stockton is going to survive with a subpar offensive line, a running back problem, and I do not like their defensive line as much, plus their schedule. They are a very young team. I think they can contend for national titles again next year, but I don't think they're going to win the SEC this year. They definitely could. So it comes to between Texas and Alabama. It was literally a coin flip. It was so hard to choose, but I chose Alabama again because of the offensive line. I'm a big proponent on the offensive line. I think it is huge. If you don't have a good offensive line, nothing works unless your team is specifically built around having a bad offensive line, kind of like Texas was last year. And I just really value teams with good offensive lines. Same with defensive lines, but both have amazing defensive lines. Alabama obviously has LT Overton, Tim Keenan, along with James Smith. They've got some very good players there. A lot better defensive line than last year. And Texas obviously has more, and they have Simmons, and they have TJ Shaw. It's very, very deep, and both are equal in the defensive line. But when it comes to the offensive line, I like Alabama a lot better. They got Caden Proctor, they got Roberts back, they got one of the best centers in the SEC, and Texas has a very young offensive line with a very young cornerback. And I'm going to trust when both teams have 2 young quarterbacks, Alabama's QB and Texas's. I'm going to trust the team with the better offensive line and the more experienced team. And not to say that Texas can't win they definitely can. They have a talent flying around everywhere. Ryan Wingo, he's very, very good. They got Wisner at the running back, a much stronger running back room than Alabama's Jam Miller. And if Arch Manning's the real deal, watch out. But I feel like Alabama is a more complete team. I really like their offensive line. It takes a lot of pressure off their young quarterback. And of course, they got Ryan Williams. You thinking that Texas is the only one with a bunch of talent on their team? Think again. Ryan Williams is amazing, along with Bernard on their team. And I just feel like there's not really any huge weaknesses on this Alabama team besides maybe their quarterback and their running back. But I feel like that can be fixed. I have faith in Kellen DeBoer. And I feel like this is going to be a matchup that's going to be seen in the SEC championship game. And I feel like Alabama would win that because they have an elite secondary. Texas also has a very good one with Muhammad in there. Michael Taffy, of course. Alabama is a whole different level. They got Damani Jackson, Keon Sabb. Those 2 could be first-round picks. They also got Cam Calhoun from Utah, that transfer. It's just a very, very good offensive backs. And in a conference like the SEC, defending against those amazing wide receivers could be very, very useful. So I think Alabama's advantage on the line of scrimmage, the secondary, and just having a more experienced team is going to help them. And I also like their schedule a lot. Texas, they have to play Ohio State in the opener, but that doesn't have to do with the conference. They have to play Oklahoma. They have to play Georgia and Texas A&M. That is very tough. While Alabama, they just have to play Georgia, LSU, and South Carolina. I like Alabama's chances. Give me Alabama. ACC, let's get this out of the way. It's Clemson. Not even close. I think they could definitely win the national championship this year, Clemson. They have an elite defensive line, probably one of the best defensive lines in the country, if not the best, with TJ Parker and Parker Woods. They got one of the best linebacker rooms in the country, too. And they just have talent flying all around. They got Terrell in the secondary flying around in there, along with Khalil Barnes. And, of course, they got Sammy Brown and Asher Hampton at linebacker. Very, very good team and great defense. And last year, their secondary was their problem, but they fixed it up this year. Almost everybody returns from that team. And they have an elite Heisman contending quarterback coming back. Unlike most teams this year, they actually have a good returning quarterback. And I think that's going to make a lot of difference. He can run, he can pass, and he's got two great receivers to throw it to in TJ Moore and Antonio Williams. And along with that amazing offensive line, I value offensive line a lot. And I think head and shoulders, they're the best offensive line in the ACC, maybe the best in the country behind Penn State. I think a team with a great offensive line, veteran quarterback, proven wide receivers, and that elite defense, that's no question they're going to win the ACC. And I think they don't really have much question marks, unlike their other ACC counterparts like Miami or SMU, who have a lot of question marks. Give me them to win. For the Big Ten, I'm going to try to keep this a bit more short. Keyword try. I'm going to pick Penn State. I know it seems a little bit hypocritical coming from me, the guy who made a whole video on why Penn State was not a national title contender. And yes, I know it seems like it's contradicting each other, but it's not. I still don't think they're a national title contender, but they can definitely win the Big Ten. My brain said Penn State, and my gut said Ohio State. It's going to be very, very close, but I have to go with Penn State. They returned by far the most talent out of anybody here in the Big Three with Oregon and Ohio State. Michigan returned a lot of talent too, but I think Penn State clears Michigan by a lot. They're the most completed team. Their secondary is amazing. Their defensive line, they got Zane Durant and Deanna Sutton there. They got Campbell, the linebacker transfer from North Carolina, and their linebacker corps. Of course, they got King Mack from Alabama in their secondary, and Zakiya Wheatley. I really like that. They have an elite offensive line. Big Ten teams with good offensive lines usually win the national championship. And this year it's going to be even better. 5 with starting experience. And if they can just lean on that run game, even if they didn't have a pass game, which they do, if they didn't have a pass game, they could just lean on the run game. 2 1,000-yard rushers back. That's going to be a nightmare for defenses to deal with. And they fixed their number one issue at wideout. They brought in 3 transfers. All are very, very good. It's all going to depend on Drew Aller. I still do not like Drew Aller. And that's why I don't think they're going to go far in terms of the playoff. And that's why I was going to choose Ohio State. But logically, I can't pick Ohio State or Oregon or Michigan over Penn State because of the quarterback, because I'm just assuming that they're going to be better than Drew Aller. They haven't played a snap. All 3 of those quarterbacks are inexperienced, so I can't just say Aller's going to be worse than those. If he's just okay, if he's good, I think they can definitely win the Big Ten. I feel like they're going to lose to Ohio State in the regular season, but then beat them in the Big Ten championship. I don't like Oregon. They've lost a lot of talent. They're still good, and they still brought in some transfers, but they need Dante Moore a lot, and it's going to be a bit of trouble for them. I think Michigan's not quite there yet, but they definitely do have a chance. And Ohio State, I think they're a very good team, but they just lost so much, and it's hard to rebound that fast. Their defensive line's very inexperienced, and they have some holes in the secondary. But who knows? It could be anybody here. This was literally so hard. For the last conference, the Big 12, it is such a deep conference. You got legitimately like 4 contenders for that. Texas Tech, Iowa State, Baylor, Arizona State, Utah. My pick is going to be Arizona State. I'm going to eliminate some of the teams that I don't think are going to win the Big 12. Utah, they definitely took a step forward, but I don't think they added enough on that offense in particular. Iowa State didn't make enough improvement to make me feel like, wow, they're a Big 12 championship contender this year. Texas Tech needs another year. They added a lot. They definitely have a lot of upside, but I think they just need a little bit more time. TCU could definitely come in and make a splash, but I don't think they're going to do it. And that left me with Baylor and Arizona State. It was very, very, very hard, but everybody in the Big 12 returned talent a lot, or pretty much everybody in the upper echelons of the Big 12 returned talent and returned a bunch of starters, but I feel like Arizona retained the best talent out of all of them. In particular on that offensive line, Baylor has a good offensive line too, but not to the nearest extent of Arizona State's. They're pretty much all seniors, and I love a good offensive line. And they have a game changer, kind of like Ohio State has a game changer, in which I feel like gives them an extra win or two in Jeremiah Smith. I think Jordan Tyson adds another layer to that offense, along with Jalen Moss. I think that he's also very good. And they also return QB Sam Leavitt. I know Baylor also returns their quarterback and their running back, but I just feel like Arizona State, they just have too much talent to outbox them. I don't think Baylor has a receiver quite like Jordan Tyson. And on the defensive side of the ball, I think it's very close, but I feel like Baylor's a bit too young in the secondary. I know they got some transfers, but I think Samson Hunt being their number one cornerback, it's not going to work out for Baylor that way. I think Arizona State has a very established secondary, and I think having a good secondary in a crazy league like the Big 12 is important with Xavier Alfred and Miles Rouser along with Keith Abney Jr. And that defensive line, it's going to improve even more this year with guys like Prince Dorbian and CJ Fights. He comes back. And I feel like Baylor is a bit inexperienced on the defensive line. I like Baylor a lot. I feel like with their quarterback and running back are very good. Their defensive line has a lot of upside. If Baylor's defensive line gets into gear, I feel like they're going to win. They have the best linebackers corps, but I feel like Arizona State is a more complete team all around. I trust their coach, Dillingham, and I feel like with Jordan Tyson, with a great offensive line, and with an elite secondary, I feel like Arizona State's going to win the Big 12. Now, who do I think is going to win the national championship? I think it goes to Clemson. They are a very, very well-rounded team. This is a year of a big turnover in college football. There's a lot of inexperienced teams, and I feel like experience is key. I think it's going to be Clemson. It also could be a team like Texas. I know I didn't pick them to win the SEC, but they definitely have national championship contending type of play. It could be Penn State, but I don't think so. It also could be a team like Georgia or Alabama. It could be anything, or Notre Dame, but I think Clemson wins the national championship. I'm sorry if this doesn't get out in time before the first games on Friday, but I'm going to be covering college football every week. I will try to make a weekly preview and weekly predictions. I cannot make weekly predictions for this week, but I will try my best. And please like and subscribe if you like this. Thank you.